Hiroko Brown's scream tore through the Beacon Hill mansion before her mind could catch up to what she'd done. The teapot, ancient, priceless, irrelevant, clattered across marble as boiling water soaked through Stephen Scott's tailored slacks. Steam rising from his paralyzed leg like smoke from a funeral pyre. Oh God, I'm so sorry. Her voice cracked into pieces, but Stephen didn't flinch, didn't gasp. His face remained carved from stone as he stared down at his leg. The leg that couldn't feel the water scalding his skin, couldn't send the warning his brain desperately needed. That's when Hiroko saw it. The skin turning deep crimson, blistering. He was burning alive and didn't even know it. Hey everyone, excited to share today's story? Subscribe, comment, and catch tomorrow's. Mr. Scott, your leg. She lunged forward, hands shaking so violently she could barely grip the fabric. Stephen's eyes lifted to hers, cold, empty, utterly destroyed. Does it matter? His voice was a whisper from the grave. I can't feel it anyway. Hiroko's fingers fumbled with his pant leg, her nursing school training, cut short by her mother's hospital bills, kicking in through the panic. Second-degree burns, maybe worse. We need ice. Hospital. Now. She was already reaching for her phone. Don't! Stephen's hand shot out, gripping her wrist with surprising strength. No hospitals, no doctors, no one. She stared at him, really looked at him for the first time since she'd taken this job 3 weeks ago. The youngest self-made billionaire in Boston's history. The man who designed the skyline she'd gazed at from her cramped Dorchester apartment. Dreaming of a better life for her and her daughter, Keiko, but his eyes held no empire, only an abyss. You'll get an infection. You could lose the leg. I've already lost everything that mattered. He released her wrist, turning back to the window. Clean it up, then pack your things. You're fired. The words hit, harder than they should have. This job was her last lifeline. No. The word escaped Hiroko's mouth before fear could stop it. Stephen's head turned slowly. Excuse me? I said no. Her heart hammered against her ribs, but she stood her ground. Fire me tomorrow. After I treat that burn. After I make sure you don't die from sepsis because you're too stubborn to let anyone help you. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe even respect, before the walls slammed back up. You don't understand what you're... My mother died from an infection. Hiroko's voice cracked. A small cut she ignored. I watched her slip away in a Boston Medical Center bed while I held her hand and begged her to fight. So no, Mr. Scott. I won't watch another person choose to die when I can do something about it. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Finally, Stephen closed his eyes. 1 hour. Then you leave. She was already moving toward the first aid supplies. If you're still reading this, you understand that some moments choose us. We don't choose them. Hiroko worked in focused silence, cleaning the burn with a gentleness that contradicted her shaking hands. Stephen watched her with an intensity that made her skin prickle. You said you went to nursing school, he said quietly. 2 years at UMass Boston. Then my mother got sick. She applied antibiotic ointment with careful precision. Keiko was 5. Someone had to keep the lights on. Keiko? My daughter. She's 8 now. Thinks I work in a castle. A sad smile touched her lips. Not entirely wrong. Stephen's jaw tightened. Where's her father? Afghanistan. KIA 6 years ago. The words still tasted like ash. Marines. He never got to meet her. She finished bandaging his leg, her fingers lingering a moment too long. A habit from her nursing days, the human touch that said you matter, you're still here. When she looked up, Stephen was staring at her with an expression she couldn't name. Something raw. Something that looked almost like recognition. Why did you really say no? He whispered. Hiroko sat back on her heels, the medical kit forgotten beside her. Truth hung in the air between them, heavy and unavoidable. Because I know what giving up looks like, she said softly. I see it in your eyes every morning. The way you stare at that river like you're calculating the fall. The medication bottles you think I don't notice. 4 months expired because you stopped taking them. Stephen's face went white. You have no right. The wheelchair ramp to the widow's walk. Her voice was steady now, unflinching. It wasn't there when I started. Your assistant Whitmore had it installed last week. But widow's walks don't have railings, do they, Mr. Scott? The truth detonated between them. Stephen's hands gripped the wheelchair arms, knuckles bone white. Get out! His name was Corporal James Matsuda. Hiroko's eyes filled with tears. My husband. He saved 3 men before the IED took him. Died a hero. You want to know what he told me in his last letter? Stephen said nothing, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He said, if I don't make it home, promise me you'll teach Keiko that life is worth fighting for, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Hiroko's voice shattered. And here I am, 3 years later, watching a man who has everything, his mind, his hands, his brilliant future, ready to throw it away because he can't walk. You don't understand. Stephen's roar echoed through the empty mansion. I was supposed to build the new Boston Children's Hospital. 60 stories of glass and hope. I had the design finished. The greatest work of my life. And now I can't even climb the stairs to my own bedroom. He grabbed a crystal vase and hurled it against the wall. It exploded into 1,000 pieces, just like his voice. The accident. It wasn't random. Hiroko froze. My business partner, Thaddeus Crane, he cut my brake lines. Stephen's face crumpled. Because I discovered he'd been embezzling from our charity foundation. Millions meant for sick children. The confession hung in the air like shattered glass. Hiroko's mind raced, pieces clicking together. The locked study, the lawyers who visited in shadows, the way Stephen sometimes woke screaming. You have proof, she whispered. Encrypted files. But Crane's lawyers are vultures. Without me testifying in person, appearing strong. He laughed bitterly. Who's going to believe a broken man? Hiroko stood abruptly, fury replacing her tears. You're not broken. You're healing. She grabbed her phone, fingers flying across the screen. My best friend from nursing school, Sable Whitman, she's a physical therapist now at Spaulding Rehabilitation. Best in Boston. I've tried physical therapy. You tried giving up with witnesses. Hiroko's eyes blazed. There's a difference. And that hospital you designed? Keiko was supposed to have surgery there. Born with a heart defect. That building could save her life. Stephen's breath caught. What? So here's the deal, Mr. Scott. You fight for that hospital, and I'll fight for you. Some battles aren't fought alone. Some require us to be brave enough to let others carry us when we can't stand. 6 months transformed everything. The Suffolk County Courthouse buzzed with reporters as Stephen Scott wheeled himself to the witness stand. No assistance, spine straight, eyes clear. Beside him, a 3-foot architectural model of the Boston Children's Hospital caught the light, its glass spires reaching toward impossible sky. Hiroko sat in the front row, Keiko tucked against her side, both wearing their best dresses. Stephen's testimony was surgical. Bank records, emails, recorded conversations. Thaddeus Crane's empire collapsed in 90 minutes. But the real shock came after the verdict. Stephen addressed the courtroom, his voice carrying the weight of resurrection. Every dollar recovered goes to the hospital fund, and construction begins next month. He turned, his eyes finding Hiroko's. Because someone once taught me that giving up isn't an option when people are counting on you. The judge's gavel fell. Crane was led away in handcuffs. And Stephen Scott, broken architect, attempted murder survivor, fighter, smiled for the first time in 2 years. 18 months later, Hiroko stood on the newly completed hospital's rooftop garden, 60 stories above Boston, exactly as Stephen had envisioned. He wheeled up beside her, stronger now. Physical therapy had brought back sensation in his left leg, partial movement. Doctors called it miraculous. Stephen called it Hiroko. Keiko's surgery is scheduled for next week, he said softly. Dr. Castellanos is the best pediatric cardiac surgeon in the country. I know. You flew him in from Johns Hopkins. Hiroko's voice was thick with gratitude. The hospital board approved your scholarship too. Full ride to finish your nursing. Degree. She turned to him, tears streaming freely now. Why? Stephen reached for her hand. Because you saved my life that day. Not by treating the burn. By refusing to let me disappear. Below them, Boston glittered with possibility. Keiko waved from the garden below, healthy and whole, playing among flowers that grew 60 stories in the sky. Some accidents destroy us. Others rebuild us into something stronger than we ever imagined. If this story touched you, if you believe broken things can heal, you know what it means to stay, to witness, to not turn away. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed the story. There are plenty more amazing stories coming your way, so don't stop here. Just click on the video showing on your screen and keep watching. I'll see you there.